Well, believe it or not, technology is coming to estate administration. Hi, it's Nancy Beauvair here with Agape and NEXsteps. And this week I'm going to introduce you to the fact that, believe it or not, the dinosaurs of legalities and estate administration are slowly starting to join the technological age. And my home province of Alberta is a bit of a leader in that. In June of 2022, our province introduced a digital application process for grant of probate. While there are certain aspects of acceptance of digital technology in other provinces at this time, Alberta's is completely integrative. So what that means is when we have a simple estate that we're dealing with, you can now apply online for the grant of probate. Now, just to remind everybody, the grant of probate is the actual act of the court in the jurisdiction where the testator passed away, declaring that they accept that will that was presented to them as being the last will and testament of the deceased, as well as being a valid will, and it recognizes the authority of the named executor to act as the estate administrator and executor on behalf of the deceased person. Now, not all estates are required to go through probate. It varies from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, so be sure to check what the limitations are in the jurisdiction that you're living in. But it varies depending on how much was in the estate. Estates with nominal value are not required to go through the process of probate. But anybody who has real property, anybody who has passed away with any kind of assets of a reasonable or considerable value does have to go through that process. If you've ever acted as an executor, you'll know that being an executor is very time consuming, and as well it requires a lot of paperwork and record keeping. This digital system that has been introduced into Alberta can make that process easier. In Canada, depending on your jurisdiction, again, we are looking at timelines for grant of probate to be received of months and sometimes even over a year just to receive the grant of probate. And that is before the executor can act on behalf of the deceased person, gain access and control of the accounts again, and make sure that they're maintaining and administer the estate as was directed in the will. So what that means is, for example, the deceased owned a home and they had no one else on title, nobody that it passed on to. That home cannot be sold until the title changes to the executor, and that can't happen until probate has been granted. So if it takes a year, 18 months to receive that grant of probate, the executor can end up having to foot the bills for the insurance on the vacant home, for securing and maintaining the property in the condition that it's in, keeping the assets safe, maintaining the premises, the yard. That can get very, very costly. So if we can create a system where probate is more streamlined and is quicker, it makes sense to actually do that. Reports have been that you can get probate granted now in as little as 10 days by filing online in Alberta. Now, I will caution you here that not every estate will be able to be applied for through this online process. It depends on the complexity. It depends on a number of things. I have a more detailed guide in my article that is on the website this week, and if you check over there, you will see exactly what the requirements are to be able to do that. If you're from outside of Alberta, check in your jurisdiction and see what it is that you can gain access to digitally and if it can save you time. But beyond that, I think that what this is a trendsetter, and I think we're going to see this expand across multiple jurisdictions. It just makes sense. If there's any kind of questions with beneficiaries, if there's any questions about the validity of the will, all of those things, of course, have to be dealt with in a different fashion. And as the executor, you probably are going to not want to do that on your own. You're going to want to either get the services of a certified executor advisor, such as myself, to help you navigate those issues, or you may wish to engage the services of a lawyer who can stick handle those things from a legal perspective. I'm going to leave that with you today. Please hop on over there, and again, I'll remind you, if you have any questions, if you are currently an executor or you have been named as an executor and you have questions about the process, I am a certified executor advisor. Contact me on the form on the website. Leave me a comment in the comment section on the YouTube channel if you wish, and I'll get back to you and answer your questions. Thanks very much for joining me this week. Bye for now.